On this Sunday night, the National is on the ground in Haiti. People prepare for more protests while friends and family in Canada worry.
Everybody's locked, everybody's stranded.
Tonight, a firm new warning from the country's president.
I trusted what I was hearing on the radio.
They're out thousands of dollars and going public after taking financial advice from fake experts.
I never once believed that it was an ad.
The blurred lines between information and advertising. And how a parent's choice is contributing to an outbreak that could have been prevented.
At that time, we were a lot of parents worrying about the MMR vaccine.
The family at the center of BC's measles outbreak speaks to CBC News. This is The National. After days of street violence, the political chaos in Haiti seems to be on pause, at least for the moment. But with more anti-government protests expected this week, many Haitians are now scrambling to cover the basics. And that means collecting much-needed food, water, and medicine if they can find it. Also, in desperately short supply, gasoline, now the lifeblood of daily economic survival. To fully comprehend the situation in this troubled country, you've got to be there, on the ground. And our Paul Hunter is in Haiti tonight. He paints a grim portrait of anger and desperation in Port-au-Prince.
If Haitians had a break this weekend from the rioting and street violence that had rocked this country for days, it hardly seemed it. Yes, there were people on the streets of Port-au-Prince, those who'd locked themselves in their homes for more than a week trying to stay safe, but a litany of burnt-out gas stations underline the fury now rampant in this country, not to mention outside the presidential palace, where rocks thrown in anger last week now litter the street. But reminders, too, of what led to those riots in the first place, a lack of almost everything. At this freshly reopened gas station, desperation over what little gasoline is left in the pumps. These men would normally be working at the flower shop behind them, but with no deliveries for days, there is no work. Adding to their misery, a president who, in their view, is doing nothing about any of what ails Haiti. I live 100 meters from the president's house, he says. I have no electricity, no water. We have a shortage of everything, said this man. Today, the barely functioning healthcare system led to this incredible scene in a hospital parking lot. Yes, she's having a baby. And the list goes on. All those propane tanks, people here had been lining up since 6 a.m., betting that a supply truck might come here eventually. When it did, cheering. But as one man told us, fact is nothing ever really changes in Haiti, adding that in his view, outside Haiti, no one even cares. Sky-high inflation, few jobs, little food, and fading hope in a country where poverty remains beyond the pale. My feeling, he says, is that it is the beginning of the end of the world in Haiti. Indeed, at that propane station, alongside the truck with the fresh and sought-after tank of fuel, a half-dozen police officers, hefty automatic weapons at the ready, standing by, keeping the peace for now.
Paul Hunter joins me now. That uneasy peace you talked about, Paul, can that even last past tomorrow?
Well, the government sure hopes so. It put out a news release tonight calling for a return to normal in this country henceforth. We'll see what happens. This much is clear. Haitians are angry. It's as if this country has reached a tipping point. The realization that nothing ever changes in this place. We talked a lot about Haiti 9 years ago after the earthquake. 9 years later, it's as if they cleared away the rubble, but that's it. Right? And now the suggestion that many hundreds of millions of dollars that was supposed to go into making this a better place flat out didn't, that instead it fell to government corruption, leaving regular Haitians with the same old, no food, no medicine, no water, no electricity, you name it. Haitians are enraged at a government that seems incapable of making this a better place.
Paul Hunter in Port-au-Prince tonight. Thanks, Paul. Every month, Haitians in the Toronto area meet for a special Creole church service. Today, they did more than pray. As the CBC's Talia Ricci tells us, they also made plans to help the people that they are so worried about.
I'm going to try another one.
Lost connections have been common these days.
Has it been hard to get a hold of them?
It's not possible.
For many, the feeling of unease lingers with every dropped call.
When I don't hear from them, I have that sense what's happening.
This special Mass in Creole brings the Haitian community together in Toronto. For some, what's unfolding in Haiti doesn't feel far from home.
I feel like if I'm in the middle of it, but from afar. But I don't feel it's outside of my life.
Antoine DeRose says he left the country just days before the violence began.
I feel lucky that I'm back here with my family in Canada. At the same time, I'm feeling very sad of the situation that those who are left behind have to go through.
Many stayed after today's service to discuss ways they can help and to share their worries about family far away.
People are not allowed to go about their personal lives. They had to stock up on food.
The group plans to find out what supplies are most needed in Haiti, then raise the money to send them. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, about 150 Canadians stranded in Haiti have begun returning home. During the worst of the protests, it was too dangerous to even travel to the airport. Global Affairs Canada says a group of about 30 missionaries from southern Alberta is expected home late tonight after flying out of Haiti yesterday. Others have already arrived. The largest group, 113 tourists from Quebec, touched down last night in Montreal. Back in Haiti, their tour operator, Air Transat, had to hire helicopters to airlift them from their resort to the airport in Port-au-Prince. Also last night, Dr. Emilio Bazil arrived in Ottawa, greeted by family who had feared for his safety. Dr. Bazil had been on a medical mission along with 4 other Canadian caregivers. On Friday, they risked their lives by driving to the airport, encountering roadblocks and demands for money.
I feel alive, feel happy, and I didn't expect, at some point, I didn't expect that.
But he doesn't blame the people of Haiti.
Those are people who have been in misery. They don't have electricity. They don't have a drinking water. They don't have what we have here. And I even didn't blame them, although I almost got killed.
It was very stressful situation. And now that he's back, it's a relief.
Global Affairs Canada says a few other groups of aid workers and missionaries have plans to leave tomorrow. Health officials in BC are battling an outbreak of measles, 9 confirmed cases this month alone. The virus is extremely contagious and can lead to serious complications and even death. But it's also entirely preventable with immunization. Now, the Vancouver family at the center of the recent outbreak is speaking out to CBC News. As Renee Filipponi reports, the father says it wasn't their fault.
The rash really amplified, like it was all over.
Emmanuel Bilodeau's youngest son contracted measles during a family trip to Vietnam last month. It spread to his 2 other children. None had been given the measles vaccine as infants.
Back then, you gotta think like 10, 12 years ago, there was a lot of debate on the MMR vaccine, lots of drama around it. So we were a little bit concerned and we were worried.
His children have since been vaccinated against other diseases, including before their trip to Asia, but not for measles. Bilodeau says the doctor didn't recommend it.
That day he would have told me, you need MMR, like you got like your kids, like it's, I would have been like, yeah, for sure, let's get MMR going here.
He also blames BC Children's Hospital for not diagnosing measles soon enough. They made multiple trips to the hospital over the course of weeks.
Measles is highly infectious and spreads through the air. Close contact is not needed for transmission.
The health authority is trying to track down anyone who may have been in contact with the Bilodeaus or the others who have contracted measles.
It is, I think, the responsibility of people to ensure that their children are vaccinated.
Vaccine hesitancy is an increasing problem.
Public health officials want to make sure the message is clear. Vaccines are safe.
All of those, former claims that it's associated with autism have been disproven.
And Rosie, today the Prime Minister tweeted out that vaccines prevent outbreaks like this and save lives, but immunizations aren't mandatory in Canada. Students in Manitoba, Ontario, and New Brunswick have to show proof they've been vaccinated when they enroll for school, but they can be exempt for health or religious reasons, or simply because they don't want to vaccinate their children.
Okay, tough lesson for people to learn tonight. Thanks, Renee, appreciate it. Yeah, Renee Filippone in Vancouver. Was it a hate crime or a hoax? Police say they want to interview American actor Jussie Smollett again about an attack he says happened in Chicago last month at the hands of Trump supporters. The incident has been held up as an ugly example of the widening divisions in America, but now there are suggestions it might have been staged. Ellen Morrow has the story.
I will never be the man that this did not happen to. I am forever changed.
Ever since Jussie Smollett said he was the victim of a violent attack, the story has grabbed international attention. Kamala Harris, a 2020 contender, called it an attempted modern-day lynching. Smollett told police he was beaten and had a rope thrown around his neck by men who shouted a "Make America Great Again" slogan, along with racist and homophobic slurs.
I think that's horrible. It doesn't get worse, as far as I'm concerned.
But Smollett's story appears to be in doubt after two brothers seen in security video were arrested, then released. Police say the information they gave has shifted the course of the investigation.
Innocence prevailed, all right? My guys are walking home. They're not charged. They are not suspects in this case.
Turns out the men are brothers who knew Smollett, one as a personal trainer and as an extra on Empire, Smollett's TV show. U.S. news outlets are quoting unnamed sources saying police are now investigating whether Smollett paid the men to attack him.
You do such a disservice when you lie about things like this.
Smollett's team denies he orchestrated the attack, and in an interview Thursday, the actor expressed frustration at his story being questioned.
Listen, if I tell the truth, then that's it, because it's the truth. Then it became a thing of like, oh, how can you doubt that? Like, how do you not believe that? It's the truth.
But there's growing skepticism and anger.
We believe Jussie Smollett lied about being the victim of a hate crime and being assaulted, and for us, it's a slap in the face.
Smollett says he feels victimized all over again by the latest doubts over his story. But if it was just a story and not the truth, he could face charges for lying to police. Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Washington.
A group of would-be investors say fake experts on local radio stations conned them out of millions, saying the fraudsters posed as investment experts on shows that sounded like the news but were actually infomercials. GoPublic's investigation found those so-called experts had a history of duping investors in the U.S. before hitting the airwaves here in Canada. Here's Rosa Marcatelli.
I'm still in awe. I'm not going to lie.
Tracy Conrad and her husband listened religiously for months before handing their savings over to what they thought were investment experts being interviewed on the radio. Shows that sounded like news, she says, with radio personalities who covered the news.
Insightful, expert advice about money matters.
This show is about investing in money, with money, and making money.
The bombshell came from the provincial regulator, the Ontario Securities Commission, saying it suspects those so-called experts were using fake names and had a fake company.
I trusted what I was hearing on the radio.
Turns out they also weren't allowed to operate in Ontario. Conrad says one call by the radio stations to the regulator would have caught that.
And I would have all my money still.
She and her husband say they lost $15,000. Dozens of Ontario radio listeners say they lost even more, for a total of $6 million, according to a class action lawsuit filed against the so-called experts and Chorus Entertainment. Chorus owns the global news radio shows that featured the fraudsters on programs like Ask the Experts and The Global Market. The allegations have not been proven in court. Chorus says the programs were infomercials and were clearly identified as such through disclaimers used before, after, and during the program. saying it intends to defend itself in court and is confident it acted diligently and responsibly, removing the programs after hearing concerns. Listener Cheryl Hansky says she lost $20,000 to the same fraudsters after listening to radio shows on stations owned by another media company, Bell Media.
I never once believed that it was an ad.
Bell says its shows, too, were paid programs, and when it became aware of legitimate concerns, it removed them. The Ontario Securities Commission believes the men who called themselves Stuart Price and Martin Schwartz on radio are actually Mark Singer and Bernard Sevilla. Go Public found Singer and Sevilla have a combined history of theft and investment fraud in the U.S., long before allegedly targeting Canadian investors.
It seems the men have disappeared along with the money, not returning messages from Go Public or investors. In fact, the company's phone line has been disconnected, and its website is down.
It's horrible.
Michael Ellis is the lawyer in the class action against Chorus and says he's preparing one against Bell.
These media companies were putting people on the air that were not licensed, that had no ability to do what they said that they were going to do.
This media ethicist says the situation is another example of the blurred line between news and advertising.
The whole area of paid content is an ethical quagmire.
Those who invested say the radio shows have gone silent on the topic.
To this day, they say nothing.
Never explaining why the so-called experts are no longer on the air. Rosa Marcatelli, CBC News, Calgary.
If you have a tip for our Go Public team, they do want to hear from you. Email them at gopublic@cbc.ca. Other developing stories we are watching tonight here on The National.
We awoke to a very loud bang, and it was a violent shake of our house.
A man is unaccounted for after an apparent explosion in Calgary earlier today. He was the tenant in a house that was leveled. Firefighters haven't been able to get inside, though, because it's so unstable. Neighbors say the homeowner is away in Thailand. Several nearby homes were damaged. And a follow-up to the recent Amber Alert in Ontario, the man accused of killing his 11-year-old daughter, Riya Rakkumar, is in hospital with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Police say the gunshot was not obvious and wasn't discovered for more than a day. Yesterday, officers noticed the man was, quote, not acting right. Doctors found the wound and he was taken to a trauma center. Still ahead tonight on The National, a fix for an aging population, what Canadian researchers are doing to create safe spaces for seniors. And a little later, meet the only Canadian on the Formula One circuit. Andrew sits down with Lance Stroll in our Sunday interview. But first, bracing for Brexit, how Europe's biggest port is preparing for the worst.
The effects on the Dutch economy will be big. And that's why we say to our Dutch entrepreneurs, prepare yourself.
There are a number of employee groups and other companies hoping to emulate Lotus's policies in their own companies. We discussed having a meeting in January '93 in New York to network and exchange information and ideas. If anyone is interested in more information, please let me know.
The objective will be to explain the goals of the gay and lesbian organization to Bell employees. The article.
Well, I think the company is waiting just to gauge and see how progress is made in this area.
I'd like to see diversity training in the workplace. I'd like to see spousal benefits for same-sex couples, of course.
Knowing that you're in a company that respects you and acknowledges you, it makes a huge difference. You don't feel like your family is considered less valuable than everyone else's family.
Spousal rights is a social right. It's a right to design programs to support the fundamental building block of our nation, which is a heterosexual family, and that.
On a rainy evening in Toronto, a small group of employees huddles to discuss the latest inequity at work, the company benefit plan. These are professionals from major corporations like Bell Canada and IBM. What distinguishes them from a majority of their colleagues is simply that they are gays and lesbians, and their declared spouses aren't covered by their company benefit packages. The battle cry is equal treatment at work, regardless of sexual preference.
Bell is not the enemy. The enemy is ignorance.
Carl Miller is one of the founders of the gay and lesbian organization at Bell Canada. In the past year, he and his colleagues have repeatedly asked Bell to extend the company dental, eye care, and medical benefits to cover same-sex partners.
Companies have been generally slow to see the advantage of extending same-sex spousal benefits. They fear that satisfying the demands of a few might attract more gays and lesbians. They fear the possibility of AIDS might drain the benefits package, and they worry about public reaction to their recognition of homosexual families. But they can't escape the issue because today's companies have become testing grounds for society's moral and ethical dilemmas. Some make history dealing with these dilemmas. Others follow.
It's an historic day for this province.
And history in this case is being made on many fronts. In the public sector, Ontario Crown Attorney Michael Leshner set a precedent this fall when the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal ruled his male spouse was entitled to coverage under Leshner's government benefits plan. Ontario didn't challenge the ruling, so provincial public sector employees can include same-sex spouses under their medical plans. BC and Yukon have similar policies.
Labour is red, Tories are blue, our future is bright, with a good deal in sight for the UK and our friends in the EU.
The British House of Commons leader with a Brexit-themed poem of hope and optimism. But even that couldn't save Prime Minister Theresa May from suffering another embarrassing defeat in the Commons after MPs for the 11th time voted down her Brexit plans. This weekend, May launched a desperate appeal, pleading with lawmakers to unite behind her as she speaks with EU leaders this week. But the consequences of the impasse are already being felt. British regional airline FlyBMI ceased operations, partly blaming uncertainties surrounding Brexit. And aerospace giant Airbus says it's reconsidering future investments in Britain.
It's absolutely catastrophic for us, and this is why we wanted to speak up.
Many outside Britain are also speaking up. The economy in nearby Netherlands relies heavily on imports and exports. And as Thomas Degla found out, Brexit has the Dutch preparing for the worst.
How do you like them onions? Red, yellow, take your pick. No one packs more onions than the Wiskirka plant in the southwest of the Netherlands. First bagged, then shipped around the world, though a whole 20% of the production goes straight to Britain. It's a fourth-generation business, and Cheyenne Wiskirka runs the place now.
We pack approximately 185,000 metric tons of onions a year.
As it stands, British supermarkets can order a load of these Dutch onions one day and have them in store the next. But Britain's EU breakup could mean big kinks along the way.
Are our trucks being stopped at a border? Do we need to have physical checks upon departure? We are not aware, and that's the most difficult thing. You do not know how to prepare yourself.
Is there a risk that the supermarkets could run out?
Yes, absolutely.
When shipping abroad, plenty of Wiskirka's onions come through here, the port of Rotterdam, Europe's biggest, and a reminder of the giant role this city plays in international trade. It acts as a gateway to the mainland, and this Dutch lawmaker worries about Brexit Britain exporting economic trouble.
It's a bit messy on the other side, and that's a shame because our economies are very much intertwined.
Where some see a challenge, others look up and see opportunity, like here at Rotterdam's own World Trade Center.
In total, this whole building is 70,000 square meters.
Jeroen Redder is eager to fill this office space.
This is our top floor, our 23rd floor.
It's under renovation with a view to attracting more foreign businesses, those keen to keep a foothold in the EU.
To you, what does Brexit mean here?
Brexit means the possibility to facilitate every customer I get and to explain them and help them.
Part of the building withstood the Second World War. Rotterdam considers itself resilient, and with economic uncertainty like this, resiliency comes at a premium. The Dutch government says it's in talks with 250 foreign companies considering setting up shop here, with Brexit looming. Some people are left wondering if this country has done a better job getting ready for Brexit than Britain has.
Hello, I'm Brian McKenzie.
That explains this meeting.
If I can start with the akte, with the deed of incorporation of the BV.
Businessman Brian McKenzie has come to hand over his British passport to a Dutch notary, legally setting up a European subsidiary to his London-based tech firm. It's a way to reduce Brexit-related risk.
Yeah, it feels like we're moving away from kind of where our roots are a bit, but that, yeah, but it's a necessity. I don't think there's a business in the UK that's not considering it.
Britain has driven all of Europe to this junction, and the Netherlands is bracing for impact.
The effects on the Dutch economy will be big. And that's why we say to our Dutch entrepreneurs, prepare yourself.
The fear is Brexit could break down a well-oiled economy running this way for decades and costing eye-watering sums in the process. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, Rotterdam, the Netherlands.
That was a pretty good pun at the end. Still ahead on The National, our Sunday interview with Lance Stroll, how the young Canadian driver is hoping to steer his team to victory. And later, her colorful paintings depicted life in rural Nova Scotia. Now, decades later, Maud Lewis's home province is honoring her.
I couldn't think of a better person to honor for Heritage Day. You know, Maud is a true ambassador to the province. Her work does speak to the culture here.
Prime Minister Winston Churchill visits forward Canadian positions as the momentous attack across the Rhine commences. Reversing the usual procedure, Montgomery throws in his ground forces without an airborne spearhead. The enemy rushes his deeply held reserves up to meet the threat. Then hours after, airborne troops sweep in from the sky. The result is a supreme tactical advantage which is pressed home by the wily commander. Caught between two fires, the enemy meets defeat. In the action and medical orderly of the 1st Canadian Parachute Battalion, Corporal Topham wins the BC. The engineers keep the supply lines across the Rhine open by constructing giant Bailey bridges while under constant fire from the enemy. With their supply bases consolidated, the 1st Canadian Army strikes out in a two-prong offensive. The 1st Canadian Corps hits with a left hook designed to clear northern Holland. Knocking aside enemy resistance, they move into a scene which recalls the heroic British airborne attack of 1944, Arnhem. From Arnhem, the thrust through Holland clears Deventer, Zutphen, and Apeldoorn. Scenes of wild rejoicing meet our forces as they liberate town after town, until finally, units of 5th Div reach the Zuiderzee. Many grim tasks are taken over by the second prong of the attack. 2 Canadian Corps liberate Stalag 6C. Scenes of Nazi bestiality will be forever engraved on a world shocked by their findings. In the north, 21 Army Group links up with the forces of Russia. The last day of German power has dawned. On the 5th of May, under the pressure of our arms, the Wehrmacht collapses. The unconditional surrender is accepted of all Nazi troops in Northwest Europe. Germany's power is forever kaput.
Today is Victory in Europe Day. Long live the cause of freedom. God save the King.
VE Day dawns. In London, capital of empire, Canadian service people join their British buddies in the celebration of the great day. London lived in the front lines. London rejoices in the defeat of a foe who came too close to their homes. Hollanders, too, have real cause for celebration. They have felt the iron heel on their necks for many years. Belgium goes wild with delight as the news that the grim struggle is over. Across the sea in Canada, victory is celebrated from coast to coast. The first Canadian post-war act is to rush supplies into northern Holland. Much of the populace had reached the starvation level.
Battling heavy traffic on a Formula One racetrack at 300 kilometers per hour, well, that takes a special kind of nerve and skill. And right now, Montreal's Lance Stroll is the only Canadian competing at that elite level. F1 is notoriously unforgiving and mistakes can be deadly, but the prospect of winning is addictive. Our Andrew Chang recently spoke with Stroll about the thrill and pressure of being the only Canadian on the track.
Formula One racing is a high-stakes, high-dollar sport. It happens mostly on European tracks, mostly with European drivers. Enter Lance Stroll. He's from Montreal, the only Canadian on the F1 circuit. He just turned 20 a few months ago, and his career has had a promising start.
A podium for Lance Stroll!
In his rookie season, he became just the third Canadian ever to finish on a podium, following in the footsteps of legendary Canadian racers Gilles Villeneuve and his son Jacques. But keeping up that pace isn't so easy. Last season, his Williams team finished at the bottom. And now there are big changes ahead. New car, new team, bigger expectations.
The Sport Pacer, Racing Point, Formula One team livery for 2019.
Lance Stroll is now part of the brand new team, the first to be unveiled in Canada and with a main Canadian investor.
And he gets a hug from Dad.
His dad, billionaire fashion mogul Lawrence Stroll. We caught up with Lance at the Canadian International Auto Show. Lance, very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How you been?
I've been great. Yeah, glad to be here.
New team, new car. You knew everything. You've been racing your whole life, but this must feel different.
It does. It does. It's a new chapter, and it's extremely exciting. And I think everyone's excited. So all this amp, all this all this energy in the building today, just gives me that itch to get behind the wheel and start driving the car.
And to launch in Canada, I mean, that's never been done.
Oh no, it's been great with all the Canadian sponsors on the car. Myself being Canadian, it's really been incredible to do it here at home.
What did you think when you saw the car?
The pink's grown on me. The pink's grown on me, I must say.
Did it take a while?
Yeah, at the beginning I was like, damn, I gotta drive the pink car, you know? But then I've been getting all this good feedback on it. Like, all my friends that don't know much about Formula One, they mention this pink car, and like, oh, like, we kind of like the pink car. And I'm like, no, that's actually not that bad. Actually, I like the pink now. So, yeah, it's great. It's definitely gonna stand out on track, and more importantly, I'm pretty sure with the group of people we got behind it, it's gonna be a good car.
You know, not to overstate the weight on your shoulders, but I mean, it had been more than 10 years since Canada even fielded a competitor before you came along in the F1. I mean, do you feel that pressure behind the wheel?
No, I take it as kind of like a positive. It's a good vibe in a way. I mean, I don't take it as pressure. If anything, I strive off of it. I fuel off of it. And just as I travel the world as well, you know, you see a Canadian flag here, a Canadian flag there. It's great. It's great energy. That's ultimately what gets me out of bed in the morning. It's it's an honor to represent the Leaf.
Talk to me about growing up. Who got you into racing? Who got you interested?
Well, I guess I'd have to say I got the bug from my dad. He's always been passionate about it. He did a bit of racing back in the day himself. It was, it was a hobby.
And Montreal's a good city to grow up in.
And Montreal's a great city to grow up in. I mean, I'd go to the Grand Prix every year, and I'd see the cars. And
you have memories of watching the Grand Prix?
I do. Yeah, I'd like just little kind of flashbacks. Remember Michael Schumacher won the Grand Prix a few times. Yeah, I just woke up every Sunday morning, was like a thing, turn on the TV at breakfast, because most of the race in Europe, so you get the race at 8 a.m. kind of thing. And yeah, I just got the bug for it.
And it's going to be Michael Schumacher winning in Canada.
Then I started go-karting, and it kind of just took off from there.
Yeah, because I mean, watching is one thing, but what, your dad encouraged you to really get into racing?
Yeah, he didn't really encourage me. I kind of took it on myself. I did a bit of karting on the weekends, and he didn't, really think much of it. I kind of just rented my kart, and I went there on the weekends, and then I started racing, and then he started to come and watch me racing, and then it then it just became, took over the hockey games. So.
And the whole time, I mean, you don't think your dad kind of secretly hoped, wished that you would?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we've been on this journey together, and it's been like a dream team in a way. We've always envisioned Formula One down the road, but it was such a long shot back then, and now I'm sitting here today and I'm working alongside him. It's an extremely special, opportunity, and I'm thankful and grateful every day for the support he's given me along the way.
As Lance says, it's been quite a journey, one filled with achievement. He made a name for himself by succeeding.
He wins the race!
Every step of the way, winning multiple championships in Formula 4 and Formula 3.
Canada has produced another great champion.
It set the stage for his F1 debut in 2017 at the age of just 18. No easy feat. I think to your rookie season, Azerbaijan, 2017.
Yeah, 2017. That
Take
was
me
a
through
special
that.
day. Oh, it was, wow, it was the highlight of my career. I mean, standing on a Formula One podium, my rookie season at 18 years old, it was like beyond imagination.
That was a wild race, too.
Yeah, it was. It was a crazy race. I started 8th, and gained a few positions, and then suddenly people just started dropping out of the race, and then there was so many safety car restarts. I overtook a couple of people, and then next thing you know, I was in second place. I had first place, 3 seconds up the road, and I had 2 world champions chasing me down and in quicker cars, and I had to kind of maintain my pace, or else I wouldn't have finished on the podium. So just a dream come true, and it'll be in the history books forever.
You have to tell me about the celebration on the podium, though.
No, I really rather
Explain.
not.
No. I want to know about this because for those who don't know,
you mean the drinking from the shoe
the
thing?
drinking
I
from
know
the
what you're
shoe.
saying. Yeah, you can just spit it out. It's cool.
So the shoey. So
the
explain what that was.
Well, apparently it's some kind of Australian tradition, and Daniel Ricciardo won the race, and he tends to kind of just take his shoe off and pour some champagne in there, and it's like a little ritual thing he's got going. So. I was like the newbie at the time, so I guess it was my bottoms up.
Great sport. Valtteri, are you partaking? Oh, there's like some dirt in there as well.
I couldn't back out of it. There was thousands of people watching. Never do it again. Yeah.
But your dad was there too.
My dad was there too.
And he must have been just really proud.
For sure. It was just a very emotional day for the Stroll family. And so the thing that was really special is I had a lot of close people around me that weekend, and I was able to celebrate it with them, which is priceless.
So now we're at the point where, your dad decides, hey, I want to buy a team, and the team that you ultimately would drive for. I mean, was it always clear to you that you would drive for the team?
Yes, we did, we talked about it and we discussed it on a regular basis, but it was definitely the right move for my career, and I see, I can share my father's vision.
Lance says he embraces that father-son racing partnership, but his critics have been tough. He's been branded by some as a pay driver, someone whose most important contribution to a team is money, not skill. It's an insult, one he disputes fiercely. But some would say it's also just part of a sport where top teams routinely spend hundreds of millions of dollars every year. Privilege and Formula One do go hand in hand, but for Stroll, ultimately, to hell with the critics. Do you feel in some ways that you have to almost push away a little bit, that you have to dissociate yourself from your dad to kind of tell people, no, I earned my spot?
Well, I do my talking on the track, so that's kind of how I've always looked at it. And, there's been a lot of criticism from the outside that I fuel off of, because I try and look at everything with a smile on my face, and and I've always looked at that as like background noise kind of thing. But my dad's helped me so much along the way, just with support, and I know that I'm very fortunate to be in the position that I'm in. But I've grabbed it with both hands, so I just try and do me out there on the track, and and I look at the opportunity of my father as a positive thing and not a negative. So I embrace it.
So the race you're most looking forward to?
Montreal. I have to say Montreal. It's one of a kind. It's one of a kind for sure.
What would it mean to do really well at that race for you?
It would be extra special, I guess, is the best way of putting it. At home, But yeah, happy to do well anywhere really, to be honest. But a good result at home would be like a cherry on top, I guess.
I was enamored with his outfit there. Anyway, still ahead on the National, we introduce you to a different kind of emergency response team, and it's fixed to help seniors who have fallen. But first, here's a look at an interview we'll bring you tomorrow night on the National. Hey, I know that guy. Susan Ormiston met up with Sting. How'd she get that assignment to talk about his musical and why he thinks Canadians can relate?
I have a feeling that Ontario will respond to this play.
Why?
I think the themes of the play are resonant, you know, where people are losing their jobs. I know it's happening here.
GM in Oshawa.
So the themes of the play are, you know, very topical.
Sting's musical is forged from his upbringing in a shipbuilding town in England. It's about the dignity of work and what happens when that work disappears.
Shots that you kind of dreamed and wished that you could have gotten, you can now actually do. The shot that I chose is a shot of Parliament Hill taken with a drone, and it's powerful to me because it's a view that people have never seen before. In the past, to get aerial shots, we would have to hire a helicopter and it would be very expensive, but now you can get your own aerial shots anywhere from 2 feet off the ground to 400 feet in the air, and it's totally opened up a whole canvas of extra angles that you can get. The Peace Tower at Parliament Hill, it's a stationary building, so in order to make that more interesting, you kind of had to add some motion, and in switching lenses, we were able to get different looks. My favorite shot of the Peace Tower was coming across the water from the Gatineau side, and that was a view that I'm just not used to seeing of Parliament Hill, and at a height that I've never seen before either.
All the hairs in the back of your neck they just stand up, and you just know you're somewhere special. For anybody who has never been to the gravesites in Europe, Vimy and Beaumont Hamel for me because of where I'm from, when you approach that monument, just driving through the towns, you see all the Canadian flags, and it just makes you proud to be a Canadian. The foreground just gives you that separation between what you're trying to compose, and the separation is what makes it all work. It really stands out. I think the advantage that we have is to bring somebody where they can never go. And a scene or a shot, that's what television does.
It's a story about human trafficking and being lured into the sex trade. The image that I've picked is a portrait of a woman whose identity couldn't be revealed. She's this intensely strong person who has literally been through hell, but revisits it, kind of reopens that wound on a daily basis so that she can help other people. I think you can literally see the curtain kind of come up, and it stops about here. And in the picture, it's the sun obscuring her face, but sort of the device is there, and it's sort of slowly creeping up, and maybe eventually it'll be gone altogether. An image is powerful when it connects with the viewer. It's what's going to make you want to spend time with the story. I hope that viewers of the photo and people who go into that story will come away with a sense of hopefulness that this that at the end of the day, it's kind of a good news story, and that this person has been able to turn this really dark experience around. She is beautiful. She's a very attractive person and confident, and I think that confidence comes through in the photo. All I really did was show up and push the button.
Hundreds, thousands of people lost their jobs, lost their homes, and it's been tough.
Here are some of the other stories we're following this week on The National. A pro-pipeline convoy from Alberta is set to roll onto Parliament Hill on Tuesday to deliver a message to Ottawa. Among other concerns, the truckers want the Trudeau government to do more to support the oil and gas sector. The city here plans to close the roads around Parliament Hill both days to make way for all those trucks.
We have to include an invitation for Miss Wilson-Raybould to speak. It baffles me that isn't the most obvious thing in this entire conversation.
Also on Tuesday, the House of Commons returns, and with it the House Justice Committee, which will meet to discuss other possible witnesses in its probe of the SNC-Lavalin controversy. Last week, the Liberal majority in that committee voted down calls to have some key players testify, including the one person everyone wants to hear from, Jody Wilson-Raybould, and some senior members of the Prime Minister's office. The opposition parties say that they will try again this week.
Le conferenze episcopali.
Pope Francis today asked the faithful gathered in St. Peter's Square to pray for the success of a highly anticipated summit on child abuse. This week's meeting at the Vatican will bring together senior bishops from around the world as the Catholic Church continues to struggle with a decades-long sexual abuse crisis. Francis has called this an urgent challenge for the Church. For older Canadians, one false step can mean the difference between mobility and disability. A sudden fall can have a devastating impact on quality of life. But hospitals and universities are looking for new ways to keep seniors safe. As Cass Russi shows us in The Fix, one Ontario pilot program brings help directly to their homes.
Niagara 2363.
43 on 042, Gunner 33.
We're on the road in Ontario's Niagara region with a unique emergency response team. A team with a singular focus, responding only to emergency calls from seniors who've fallen.
It had possible nose fracture.
Now when paramedic Eric Huffman is dispatched, Leslie Yole, an occupational therapist, is right by his side.
Sometimes we are first response. If a call was to come in and the person states when they called, I have no injuries, I just want help up, I've fallen.
How many times does that happen?
It does a lot.
Huffman and Yole arrive at the home of an 81-year-old woman in Welland.
So we're a new program.
She lives alone and doesn't want to go to the hospital. This isn't her first fall. Huffman checks the woman's medication because some prescribed drugs can contribute to the risk of falls.
Your foot sore?
Yole finds out that the senior fell from her walker while reaching for a cell phone. A quick check of the apparatus and she spots the problem.
Even when this brake was on, the wheels move in here. That's not good.
A simple repair job does the trick.
You know what? If I can prevent the next fall, that's why I'm here. If I can keep her safe. She wants to be in her home. She's quite an independent lady.
Falls are the leading cause of injury for seniors, responsible for 32% of all reported emergency department visits in 2017. A financial burden on healthcare, costing more than $2 billion. These images of real-life falls are from long-term care facilities in the Vancouver area. They're difficult to watch, but provide valuable clues for researchers at Simon Fraser University in how and why falls occur in older adults.
We specifically focus on what are the two most important injuries related to falls: hip fracture and traumatic brain injury.
One of the experiments his researchers conduct involves a giant moving platform nicknamed the Slipatron that's able to move in different directions and at different speeds.
Ready?
A fall is induced. Again. And again. And again.
Interesting how you're completely knees there, no hands.
Sensors on the volunteer's body measure the fall, and infrared cameras record it all in 3D, allowing researchers to further study things like the speed, direction, and impact of the fall.
Some older adults who have sensory impairment or are on certain medications, they're constantly in a state of trying to maintain their balance, having to recover their balance.
But while researchers like Rabinovich concentrate on the science of falls, it's almost impossible to measure the emotional toll it can take. Erin Harris was fit and active all of her life until a tumble down a flight of stairs changed that.
I was walking 5 miles a day, forever, and it went down to one street.
It took her several weeks to recover from a broken ankle, but it took her years before she felt safe enough to reclaim her old life. Now she's determined not to have it happen again.
I decided to train like an athlete again, and that meant anything and everything that was offered to me.
She enrolled in a falls prevention program at the Toronto Rehabilitation Institute.
It just allowed me to focus on my balance, my flexibility, my adaptability to change, and I was very grateful for that.
As seniors like Erin work to fight their fear of falling,
and this is our general purpose lab.
Where these accidents happen is also being studied. The main culprit? The bathroom, with all of its hard and slippery surfaces. More than 70% of falls happen getting in and out of the tub.
Bathing disability is a huge issue, and it's one of the primary reasons that an older adult will have to leave their home. So if we really do want to support this idea of aging in place, the bathroom is one of the areas we have to address.
Alison Novak and a team of researchers at Toronto Rehab have been working on making bathrooms safer, and in their latest research, the focus is on grab bars.
Should it be present? Should it be mandatory? How many falls will it prevent? And then if it should be mandatory, where should it be placed? How long should it be?
This simulated bathroom is held up by hydraulic lifts in a hangar that looks straight out of NASA. 73-year-old Gary Evans is the recruit.
Oh, bit of unsteadiness there.
Right.
By slipping, researchers can study how quickly the volunteer is able to recover and hold on to the grab bar.
Hi, Anna.
Back in Niagara, Leslie Yole and Eric Huffman are still on the road. They've dropped in on a senior they've met before.
Try and get onto your hands and knees.
She's known as a frequent faller.
Whenever you're ready, we'll try to get up towards the couch.
Yole wants to see how she's doing and give her some pointers on how to get up from a spill. It's still early, but officials say the falls team is already making a difference.
Hard work, eh?
There's been fewer visits to the emergency rooms, and while the program doesn't promise to prevent the first fall, its goal is to make sure there are no further ones. Cass Rusi, CBC News, Niagara.
Very interesting. The moment is coming up next, but first. In case you missed it, they say there's a fine line between courage and stupidity. After all, it's not every Canadian who'd do a 15-kilometer triathlon when it's 20 below. But these Winnipeggers did in the first Beat the Cold race along the River Trails path at the Forks, raising money for a program called Just a Warm Sleep, which runs a much-needed Winnipeg overnight warming shelter for the homeless.
This is my lucky day. I came in and on the ground I found $20 on the floor, so more money for the charity.
200 people turned out to run 5 clicks, ride 5 clicks, and skate 5 clicks, raising $10,000 in the process, money that will finance the shelter for a whole month.
We still have to count all the dimes and stuff, but people have been very generous.
Which I think only proves that my home province of Manitoba tends to produce superhumans, or maniacs, or maybe both. Anyway, the point is, not all heroes wear capes. Sometimes they wear 4 pounds of ice in their beards.
Is it frozen?
A little bit.
Yeah. I thought that was going to happen.
Tonight, meet 2 men who covered war with a crayon. Historians with a difference. 2 men who traced the personally experienced events of 2 wars in their dog-eared sketchbooks. Perhaps the world's best-known war cartoonists, Bruce Bairnsfather and Bill Mauldin. It's 40 years since Bairnsfather's war ended, 13 years since Mauldin's came to its double finish. Yesterday was the day allowed for the act of recollection. And weekend editor Gregory Clark had a few thoughts about remembrance.
How little war really means to us is best demonstrated
in the fact that we set aside 1 minute of silence out of the 5,256,000 minutes of the year as a mark of respect and mourning for the 58,000 Canadians killed in action in the First War and the 39,000 in the Second War. We declare a whole day for remembrance, but we gravely suggest 1 minute for silence, and hardly anybody remembers. Thus likely is war brushed off by all save the true mourners, and even some of them forget. For reasons of convenience, many of the formal observations of November 11 were held on Saturday and Sunday, November 8th and 9th. A woman of my acquaintance lost her husband in the First War and her son in the Second. She was invited to attend ceremonies on each of the 3 dates, one by her husband's regiment, one by her church, and one by her son's school principal. I offered to be her escort on each or any of the occasions. As a matter of fact, she said, declining, every day is Remembrance Day with me, every day, every night, all the years through. War, you see, except for the brief time it rages, is not a public matter at all. In the long view, it's almost entirely a private matter.
And so it was for Bill Malden and Bruce Bairnsfather. By accident, their private view of war became familiar to millions, but remained no less private. Bruce Bairnsfather was a man of elastic temperament. No amount of fatigue, hardship, peril, or pain could quench his vital spirit or reduce his exuberant sense of humor. Before 1914, he'd been many things, now a regular soldier, now an engineer. He had no thought of sketching except for mischief on walls, shirt cuffs, or tablecloths. Without the war, he might never have put pencil to paper for publication, but the war insisted. Charles Templeton met him for close-up.
This is your most famous drawing, the better old, isn't it, Captain Bruce?
I suppose it is. Everybody seemed to take to this one more than any other.
How did it come to be drawn?
Well,
did you see some incident like this?
Yes, I happened to be in a battle and was trying to get out of it, to be perfectly candid, and I was running about this field, and as I did so, I saw a whole crowd of fellows stuck in a shell hole together, not only 2, but several of them, and it all struck me as very pathetic to see anybody in such a predicament. Nobody knew whether the war was over there or over here, and I thought this thing over for some time and nursed the idea in my mind.
She never painted for a gallery, never sought fame, just painted what she could see out her window. And in doing so, many say Maud Lewis captured the true beauty of Nova Scotia. Late in life and then after her death, Lewis was recognized across Canada and around the world. Now, the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia even showcases her tiny painted house. Today, another honor. The province has chosen her to be this year's nominee for Heritage Day. What that means to those who celebrate her work is our moment.
Maud is a true ambassador to the province. Her work does speak to the culture here, and it does speak to life in Nova Scotia, so I think she's the perfect selection for Heritage Day. Maud painted on what was ever available to her. A lot of her work is done on wood shingles, but this is an example of something that she would have painted on, so this would have been a serving tray, something a little bit more non-traditional. So this is the famous Maud Lewis painted house, and it is here permanently in the gallery. So this is the house that she shared with her husband Everett, and it is considered her greatest canvas. And we actually built the gallery around the house itself. When you look at her works, it kind of conjures up emotions. So you can see themes of joy throughout her work. Everyone in her paintings are happy and enjoying the experience that they're taking on, whether it's animals or people or the famous cats that she always paints. I couldn't think of a better person to honor for Heritage Day.
Two lovely things about that. The Heritage Day honoree is chosen by school kids, so they were the ones who came up with Maud's name. And Maud, if you've read anything about her, had a pretty difficult life. Was quite poor, had arthritic hands, and in spite of that, managed to paint all of those beautiful, joyful paintings that fill that gallery. That's the National for this Sunday, February 17th. Good night, everyone.